2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Boy, oh boy, I got to say, this is the way to kick off a brand new week, a brand new Monday. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here on the flagship in Wichita, Kansas, all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, on the website at HooserReason.com. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We have more of the greetings coming for you in just a minute, but I'm excited. I want to jump right into our guest because I know he's got limited time. We have a lot to get to, and it's a beautiful way to start off a new week, I'd say, as we kick off with election season. What do you say?
Election 2020.
Yeah, buddy. And on the line with us today, I'm so excited. I'm a big fan of his. I've been following him for a while and what he's been doing. He is the Trump 2020 strategic advisor for the campaign. It's Mr. Boris Epshteyn on the line with us here. Boris, how are you, my friend?
Andy, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you on. Like I said, I'm a fan of yours. I've been following you for a while, and I tell you what, I'm excited. I'm helping local campaigns in the Wichita area here. I have to admit, I haven't seen this much political engagement or activism in a very, very long time. And I'm a millennial, so this is really one of the first times I've seen this much excitement and energy before. Are you guys feeling that type of excitement within the campaign right now, too?
Absolutely. Excitement, enthusiasm. The American people are rallying behind and for this president. You're seeing it in all the battlegrounds. And I'll tell you, I help run points on the Jewish coalition, the outreach to the Jewish voters here at the campaign. And we'll be rolling out the formal coalition soon. I help run outreach. And we're seeing in the polling that Jewish American voters are backing President Trump in greater numbers than they did in 2016, and they are backing Joe Biden less than they did Hillary Clinton. I guess Joe Biden and Kamala Harris meeting with anti-Semites and being pro-Iran but anti-Israel is not really working with Jewish voters.
Not usually working. Now, this is odd because usually the left side of the
really
aisle.
A good combo.
No, it's not. It's not a good combo for them. And the left side of the aisle, usually the Jewish community usually leans more towards the left overall in the nation, don't they?
Well, absolutely. And unfortunately, that's been the case for too long. I always attribute that to just inertia. because there's absolutely no reason. If you look at the policies of this president, what he's done in moving the embassy to U.S. embassy to Jerusalem, which had been promised for decades, but this president promises made, promises kept, recognizing Jerusalem as the historic home of the Jewish people and the capital of the state of Israel, recognizing the Golan Heights as Israeli territory, ripping up the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, which was putting all of us at risk, and then domestically fighting anti-Semitism, putting $10 million worth into Holocaust education in this country, and then setting the stage for all of the agencies around the country, all of the federal agencies to combat anti-Semitism and recognizing anti-Semitism as a hate crime. This president has delivered and supported the Jewish people all across the board. And then you look at the left. Barack Obama treated Israel like a fourth world citizen. You know what I'm saying? It was absolutely disgusting. Joe Biden and Barack Obama sent billions of dollars to Tehran, and you know that money went to Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations. And then now you've got Joe Biden meeting with Jacob Blake Sr. in Wisconsin, who's an avowed anti-Semite. Yeah. And Kamala Harris did the same thing. So it is just so clear, and I really hope that my Jewish brothers and sisters here in this country, the Americans who are living abroad but voting here, who care about the state of Israel, who care about fighting anti-Semitism, Jewish, Catholic, evangelical, whatever you may be, look at these two leaders, and you've got President Trump, who's the leader of our country, and Joe Biden is the leader of being pathetic.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, the fact that Joe Biden was part of that administration that threatened Israel when they tried to put fighter planes in the air because of some of the attacks that were going on, and they threatened to shoot them down as allies. I'm sure a lot of the Jewish community had a big problem with that. When did we start seeing that transition? Was it just been throughout the years of Trump in his administration doing what he's been doing? Was it part of the bump that we saw after the Republican National Convention, where we saw a lot of minority voters end up coming over and losing support for Joe Biden and winning support for the Republicans? I mean, when have we really seen this big transition?
We have been seeing it with this president ever since I had the honor of being a senior advisor in 2016. Because he has spoken to the Jewish community. He's got obviously family who's Jewish, his son-in-law is Jewish, his daughter is Jewish, his grandkids are Jewish. He is a champion of our community. And you know, for your listeners, they say, well, you know, why are they talking about the Jewish vote so much? Well, you've got to remember where there are large concentrations of Jewish voters, and that's Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Minnesota, which is in play, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, all battleground states. So this outreach to and by the way, that doesn't just say back to the Jewish community, the evangelical community. I had the honor of hosting a panel that Governor Mike Huckabee was on, and he's a huge champion of the Jewish community.
Yeah. No, I love it. We're talking with Boris Epshteyn. Last question. I know you got to run. You're a busy guy. But overall with the polling, as we see the polling slowly lean towards President Donald Trump and falling away from Joe Biden, I don't take much into the polls anyways because they showed he had a 2% chance of winning on Election Day back in 2016, so I kind of laugh at it. But feeling internally, the media is coming down on you guys hard right now, saying that he's having to borrow money, that he's pulling funding from advertising in swing states, that Joe Biden's gaining momentum in these swing states. I just don't see that happening. What's the feel internally with the camp right now?
That is all absolute far left nonsense. The Trump campaign is out with an 8-figure, and let me repeat it, 8-figure, that's over $10 million ad buy today, calling the economy the defining issue in the race. So all of that nonsense is just a bunch of suppression crap that the fake stream media are trying to put out there with the Democrats and the leftists. But it's not cutting through. The American people know that President Trump is the leader we need. He's the leader who has taken us through a plague, the China virus, through a plague, and brought our economy all the way back to great heights. The markets hit record high after record high, even bouncing down a little bit last week, bouncing right back up today. Yeah. This country needs President Trump to lead us into the next 4 years. And now Joe Biden, who I don't know if you saw the clip today, said that we should, quote-unquote, reelect him and Barack Obama because he thinks it's 2012. And I'm not joking, that is not hyperbole. Go see the video of him in some weird field in Delaware talking about it.
Well, that's probably the dementia kicking in there, which leads me to my last question before I let you go, I promise. But do you really think that he's going to do you really think that he's going to show up on the debate stage on September 28th for the first debate?
September 29th, my friend. He
Or
better
29th.
show up because if he does not, if Joe Biden does not show up, if he gets lost in the field again like he did today, I mean, you got to look at this video, man. This guy is in some weird wheat field. It's like my friend Jason Miller tweeted, it's like a scarecrow in the middle of a field. Doesn't know what year it is. So unless he goes and gets lost somewhere and then they pull him off the ticket, if he doesn't show up to the debate, he's saying, I am done. I am not running for president anymore. And you know what? I'll tell you this. I know we're in the political game, and it's my job and it's my honor to support the president and try to get him as many votes as possible.
Sure.
Somebody over there in the Biden family's got to look at this guy and say, hey, this is the guy we're supposed to love, and we're putting him out there just to get embarrassed, which, by the way, is what Barack Obama said back a couple of years ago. He said to Biden's team, just don't let Joe embarrass himself.
Yeah.
And you better believe Joe Biden is embarrassing himself and whatever's left of that far-left lunacy that's the Democrat Party.
He does it each and every day. It's Boris Epshteyn. It's so great to have you on the program, my friend. Keep up the fight. Keep going with this message with President Donald Trump. We'd love to get you back on the show again real soon.
Absolutely looking forward to it. Anytime, my friend. Thanks so much, and God bless you and your listeners.
Hey, you as well. We appreciate that very much. There it is, the man himself. Way to kick off a brand new week with the show here on The Voice of Reason. I love it. Boris Epshteyn, the Trump 2020 strategic advisor for the campaign. And do you see, I don't know if you've noticed a trend or not. We've had a few of these campaign people on with Mark Lauder, the campaign strategist, with the strategic advisor with Boris Epshteyn. We've had a few of these on, plus the RNC that's come on the show as well. I don't know if you can tell the excitement between watching social media videos of people doing like boat parades down New York, the New York Harbor, where it's like very progressive, and they're doing boat parades on the left side of the country in California doing boat parades with not seeing a single Joe Biden sign all over the country, really. I take that back. I got a message from a listener and said that they saw, as a trucker driving across country, have seen one Joe Biden sign in like Arkansas or Missouri or somewhere around there. And they saw one sign. The rest of them have all been Trump all over the place. You can tell where the excitement's at. My way to look at it is being the eternal optimist that I always am, is that when you hear about these, and we're going to cover it, by the way, too, these stories about Trump losing money and slashing ad spending and cutting money in certain swing states and how he's losing support, that's them showing the desperation, which I don't know if they're going to realize this or not. At some point, they're going to come to the conclusion that when you say that the candidate that the majority of the people like you and I are actually supporting and that he's not doing well, that makes us work harder to actually do it. I know it's a foreign concept for left-wing progressives to understand the idea of harder work if it's not meeting your goals, because usually for them, they just play the victim. It wasn't my fault. It was society's fault. When we just say we're just going to get her done and work harder, they don't quite understand that concept yet. So until they do, you're going to see negative ad after negative ad after negative ad, not just attacking him, but also saying that he's falling apart. There was an opinion piece saying that he was going to go to court soon because he's in big trouble. There's this one saying that he's cutting spending. There's the one saying that he's actually having to borrow $100 million out of his own funds, which is not true. None of it's true. If you listen to the show and the numbers that we've broken down for you here with the Open Records Act and the different numbers that they have online, the public files for these campaigns, you'll see that Donald Trump is actually tenfold over how much Joe Biden has actually pulled in. And that these small contributions, you and I donating 10, 20, 50 bucks, is actually more than what Joe Biden has received by large corporations. And the large contributions in corporations for Joe Biden is 60% of his donations, which means we are beating him all across the board on fundraising, on excitement, on energy. Look, when you have a presidential candidate that actually almost falls asleep when he's actually giving a campaign speech on the campaign trail out in the middle of a field or talking to a manufacturing plant, and he almost falls asleep to it, and he's whispering like this, and he tries not to go to sleep, and then you forget what you're talking about. That's not going to generate excitement. It's not going to generate anything other than just a bunch of sleepy people to want to go to sleep because you have a hard time actually going to sleep. Donald Trump has more energy than I think I have ever seen in a campaign before. He has more money. He's broken records on how much money he was receiving, and the media failed to report that. Just last year, quarter after quarter after quarter, he was shattering records of how much money was coming into this campaign, and this is what we get, the fact that he's out of money and that he's borrowing funds? Come on. Come on. Now, look, I get it. You talk to these people, and they're internal within the camp, and you're not going to hear the true story because they're internal within the camp, so they're always the cheerleader. That's true. They're always going to be the cheerleader. At the same time, you can always tell when they're trying to BS their way out of something because they don't have anything good to say, so they try and just, fluff it up. That's not the case here. They're showing the facts. Look, poll numbers, even with the polls slanted towards Joe Biden, are starting to lean towards Donald Trump, which I want to get into in a little bit here as well, because there's some polls saying that out of 100 different mock runs of an election, that Joe Biden comes away with like 75 of them out of the 100, which is just not true. So we'll cover that in a little bit too. A lot of big stuff we got to get to. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. It's a Monday. Lots of big stuff going on. Speaking of Wednesday, we have Judge Jeanine Pirro. If you know her from Fox News, she's got a new book coming out, and we have her coming on the program this week as well. So we have some big guests. We have some big discussions to be had. Plus, I want to do some election coverage, as we love to do as well, because that's our favorite thing to do during election season, is cover some of this. So we'll get to all that and more today on a Monday of the Voice of Reason. Make sure to stay here. Make sure to follow us on social media. We'll do all that when we come back here, right here on a Voice of Reason. We'll talk about your weekend as well. Had a great weekend myself. Got a lot done. A lot of things moving with the Hooser Media Network and with some stuff going on the home front. So we'll talk about that too when we come back here as well. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe to any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Thanks for hanging out with us today here on the show, radio, TV, live streaming, wherever you may be. We appreciate it very much. Make sure to follow us at Hooser Reason on all of our social media, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, on the website at HooserReason.com. We do have the live stream up there. We also have the podcast up there. We also have our survey up there. We also have the link to sign up for the newsletter up there and become a Hoosier-holic. We got a few more today as well. We're getting like every month, we're getting another like 10, 15, 20 new ones, which is awesome. So thank you for that. It's so cool to watch this grow each and every day. We appreciate that more and more than you can imagine. Hope you had a great weekend, kicking off a brand new week. I love Mondays because we get a brand new fresh start. We get the new ideas on the goals that you want to hit for this week. And I have a lot of them because I'm extremely busy, which is a good thing. I love staying extremely busy. So we have still the settling in of the Hoosier family, which is what we're doing, and some more opportunities coming up there. We have the campaigning because it is campaign season. Also, for those living in this central Kansas area as well, I'm excited. I haven't even really talked about this just because this is a national show and I really don't talk much about the local things too terribly much. But on Saturdays now, I'm doing some track announcing for our dirt racetrack in the community as well, which is really neat. I've never done anything like that before, but they offered and they asked me if I wanted to do it one time and come out and help them out for a week, and I guess they liked it, so they wanted me to do it for the rest of the season. So I'm doing that on Saturday nights as well, which is really, really neat. Which is cool. But I got it. It was interesting. We were driving on, what was it, Saturday, driving around, Mrs. Voice of Reason, Little Voice of Reason, and I, we were driving around, and the wife had on, for some reason, we never listened to this. Not that I don't care for it, because I actually like it, but I never just sit and actually listen to it, but the classical radio station on. And I just wondered, I was like, what's going on here? What do you have this on for? She's like, I don't know. I thought it was calming. And the little one, she was napping at some point a few days earlier, driving in the vehicle, and it's supposed to apparently make kids smarter. Now, the reason I like classical music is because I'm a big metalhead. As you know, I listen to very, very heavy metalcore, deathcore, death metal kind of music, very heavy, growling, screaming, double bass kind of stuff. I know it's not very accepted. I know it's not the most mainstream kind of music, but I enjoy it. I'm an odd kind of guy. Conservative talk radio, who listens to extreme metal. But nonetheless, the reason I like classical music is because they say that classical music and metal are the most that are most similar out of any type of music genres, because of the intricacies of the instruments and the difficulties of playing them and how they actually format the song. The flow of the song is actually very similar when it comes to classical and metal music, which is very true. Listen to it. I know people are like, that's just angry music and loud noises. I understand that, but the intricacies of what they have to do is actually very similar to classical music. And they say that they are intertwined in the sense that if you become smarter listening to classical, you can do the same listening to metal music. So I enjoyed it. We cranked it up, and I was listening to the classical a little bit. And then I heard the DJ, and I laughed out loud because obviously you listen to the Voice of Reason here, and I'm trying to be very energetic, very upbeat, very excited. And we try and, keep things positive moving. I listened to the DJ on the classical station. Oh boy. Now, again, nothing against them. I mean, they do a good job, but talk about the most monotone, boring thing I've ever heard in my entire life, which made me think that maybe it would be fun to do a show on a classical station and kind of jazz it up a little bit and be like, did you hear that Beethoven was really angry when he tuned into this song and he created this in spite of his ex-girlfriend, and this is his latest song in spite of his ex. Come on. If you listen to a classical station like that and you ended up having some type of comments, you would think that would be hilarious. You would be laughing. I know you would, and you would enjoy that, and that might bring a little bit of excitement to it. Nonetheless, that was my excitement for the weekend. Hope you had a great one as well. Bottom of the hour, I know it just went way too fast. When we come back, we'll actually get into some political issues, talk about some current events with the polls, with the funding for the campaigns, plus what's going on in the world of movies and Hollywood. Some weird stuff going on there, too. We'll cover all that and more here on The Voice of Reason. Happy Monday to you. Let's get this ball rolling. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe to any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn.
Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome in. It is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. Thanks for hanging out with us today, no matter where you may be, radio, TV, live, streaming, podcasting. Thank you all across the board. I've noticed when we do special podcasts, like we do a little segmented thing and just put it on there as a special feature, we get a ton of downloads on that podcast, so we may start doing that more frequently. Thank you for that, by the way. We appreciate that very, very much as we're seeing the numbers grow each and every day as we try to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag, as we try to rebrand the millennial generation one radio listener at a time, because that's what we do. Follow us on social media at Hooser Reason, Facebook, Twitter. Although, by the way, my Twitter, I think, has been hacked, so I need to change the password and get some things cleaned up on it. I noticed, and I never actually go on Twitter a whole lot other than to respond to a few things and maybe leave a few comments here and there. And we do the live streaming on there as well for the video. But I've noticed that I went through my page and there's a whole bunch of weird things on there like, hey, I just bought this. You should check it out. And it's as if me was posting things on there. So I think we got corrupted and I think we got hacked. So I'll have to change some of that and clean some of that up because that's ridiculous, man. No, I didn't buy any of that stuff. And no, don't click on any of those things. It's spam. Don't do it. And that's not what we're about here on the show. So we'll get into that here. But nonetheless, you can still follow us, and then you can just ignore all that and actually get to the good stuff, like, you know, live stream videos and things. Let's see what's trending today. What do you say?
What's trending today?
Here's a question for you that bothers me. Now, Hollywood, or let's say the movie industry itself, or just art itself, whether it's a painting, whether it's music, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's something, is it there to entertain you? Is it there to be thought-provoking, or is it there to be some type of agenda? And I'm curious where that line is because there's a gray area, I think, in between them. I think it's a line between entertainment, between trying to stretch the boundaries of thought-provoking incidents, and then there's a line definitely of political propaganda trying to be jammed down your throat. And Hollywood itself, for the most part, has gone from the entertainment to more of the thought-provoking to even pushing that line, I think, into more of that political propaganda that we now see today with many different comments from actors and celebrities, and where we see as well many comments, or at least even the movies that come out, which is really not what it's supposed to do. I mean, yes, you're supposed to be thought-provoking, but you're not supposed to manipulate people by lying to them or showing them things that just aren't true factually just because you want to. Now, there's a difference, again, between the entertainment value with like sci-fi and then trying to change the narrative within society. Let me explain for a second. There's a few movies that have come out that have been, I guess, quote-unquote, supposedly supposed to be thought-provoking or awareness things to some degree. Number one that everybody's been talking about has been that Cuties show on Netflix, which is the young 12, 13, 14-year-old girls, whatever, they're twerking. I'm not going to watch it. And in fact, we're going to be canceling our Netflix because they have something like that on there. It's sickening. It's sad that we've come to that level, and that and of course it had to come from a French movie film or a French team that actually put this together. The French. I love French, I have to say, but I don't like some of their politics or what they do at times. I spent, 4 semesters? 2 years? 2.5 years in high school trying to learn French. Terrible at it, by the way. I could read a little bit of it. Probably not anymore. I could speak a tiny bit of it, and I was terrible at listening to it. But I did it, and I got up to French 4 or 5, whatever, in high school, so I thought I was doing well then. And I loved the culture, but at the same time, the politics are ridiculous. But it came out with the movie Cuties that everybody's been talking about. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on Cuties itself because it's just sick. Why are we trying to embrace this pedophilia thing with trying to be enticed by young, tiny teenage girls, not even teenage, pre-teenage girls, trying to show off and do this twerking thing because they were enthralled by the R&B or the rap type of style of music? So that's one. But then I just saw another one as I was scrolling through. And here's this is from showbiz411.com. In groundbreaking French film A Good Man, Naomi, Noemie, I'm assuming that's the French for Naomi, Naomi Merlant is stunning as a trans man who gives birth. Now, again, where's the line between entertainment and thought-provoking or political agenda? Where's that line drawn? Because obviously that's no such thing. A trans man cannot give birth. It is a woman pretending to be a man. And it's not to be insensitive towards individuals that have this mental thing that think that they are a different sex, but the fact that you are biologically something and that's what you are when you give birth. A man cannot give birth. That is not being insensitive. That's, I guess, a trigger warning for those that are not prepared to hear something like that. So be triggered if you want to, but a trans man cannot give birth. That is a woman that has the features of wanting to be a man giving birth. So here's what it says, and I want to read a little bit of this to you. I'm the first to tell you that I'm out of my depths about writing about trans. While I got the French film, it seemed to be about a young, attractive, heterosexual couple in Provence, France. He was a doctor. She was a teacher. They'd moved to a house by the seaside and told his brother on a visit because it was easier to live in the city. It was easier living there than in the city. A couple had a adult film scene, I guess, mostly clothed. I remained clueless, the author said. I took a while before it dawned on me that something else was happening. But when the couple went to see the OBGYN about having children, I got it. The husband had announced that he would be carrying the child. Now, you got your pronouns mixed up. It was the wife, or the wife that pretended to be a husband, announced that she would be carrying a child. I'm curious, though, how that happened if it's a wannabe dude with a female in an adult scene, and then they go to the OBGYN, and they're like, oh, we're having a baby. I don't know how that works. I'm a little confused right now. I thought I knew about the birds and the bees, but apparently not. I immediately went to, according to, again, the story here, the blog, I went to IMDb to see what was going on. Independent Movie Database, if you don't know what that is. If you don't, then it's a really cool app, and you can look out. If you're watching a movie and you're like, gee, who is that guy? It looks so familiar. You can go to IMDb and you can find it. I do it all the time. It drives my wife nuts. There was little information except that Benjamin, the husband, was played by Naomi Merlant, the star of last year's hit Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Benjamin's girlfriend was played by someone named Soko. Because Benjamin had closely trimmed beard that certainly looked real to me. It took me by a few synopses to pull the puzzle together. I'm slow, but I finally got the whole thing. All right, so a female had a trimmed beard playing a male, was the one that was pregnant in the movie that was going to I'm confused. I don't quite know why this is all happening, but this is happening. So my question is, when movies like this come out, is it because it's just entertaining? Like, oh, wow, gee, I wonder if. I mean, we had the comedies back in the day, like, what was it, Mr. Mom with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he was like, oh, I'm going to give the baby, Like, is it something entertaining like that? Where it's just like, that was cute. Okay, fun, move on. That's silly. And you just blow it off as, oh, that's silly. Or is it really thought-provoking? You're like, I wonder if this could really work. Or is it trying to push a political agenda of, wow, this needs to be more frequent. This needs to be happening more often. I don't know the film. I don't know what agenda they were trying to push here. It's a French film, so I probably won't watch it anyways because I hate watching subtitles and reading subtitles. I don't like to read my movies, I'm sorry. But there's got to be some type of reason why they would do something like this, other than just the shock and awe of like, oh, wow, look at this, a trans man is giving birth. I'm concerned that more movies like this are trying to push certain political agendas that we don't need to do. When I watch a movie like sports, I want to watch it for the entertainment value, unless I'm watching a documentary. But there's a reason I watch a documentary is because I want to learn more about it. I want to learn more about whatever I'm doing. If I'm turning on an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, I don't want to watch it for informational purposes. Although I will say, if I'm watching the show 24 with Jack Bauer, then it is an informational movie because it's a how-to on how to stop terrorism in the nation. Am I right or am I right? Come on. But movies like this, where's that line here? Is it supposed to be just a thought-provoking, like, ooh, shock and awe? Or is it really like, hey, this needs to be happening more frequently, and if we just desensitize people to it more and more, then it becomes more accepted, and then it's all going to be great and hunky-dory. We need to have our terminology right. For the left that tries to be the elites and the higher-ups that understand things so much more, and that we're just these low hillbilly podunks that don't understand anything, because we put seeds in the ground and put water on it, and it grows, and anybody can be a farmer, like they say in New York. If we're just so little like that, then why are we the ones having to come back and redefine, wait a second, what's the term of socialism? What's the definition of fascism? What's the definition of Nazism? What's a man? What's a woman? What's the biology actually look like here? Why is this such a complicated thing for you to understand? And oh, by the way, when we look at something like cuties, why are we trying to desensitize people for 12-year-olds twerking? If you remember when you were 12 years old, there was nothing that was appropriate and like that in any way, shape, or form, and most people weren't even trying to wear skin-tight clothes to look appealing at 12 years old. Most people were wearing, like, shirts that your parents gave you that went down to your knees because that's all you fit because you were growing so quickly that you didn't have time to actually purchase things that fit you at that age. That's the way that my age group was at that age. That's the way most people grew up. Now we have 12-year-olds that are trying to twerk and people that are okay with this for some reason. And I know they're trying to, they said, of course, they came out with some kind of statement so that there was some kind of awareness that we want to bring awareness to pedophilia and underage children, but that's not what happened. You know that's not what happened. You know that's not the purpose of the movie. I'm not going to watch it, so I'm not even going to find out, but it's not okay. This is not okay. Apparently, we need to remind everyone what the definition of a woman is and what a man actually is. And you cannot just say, well, it's a trans man. No, it's a woman that wants to be a man, because they will never, ever, 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 ever be a man, no matter how much they self-identify as one or how many hormones you take or how many manipulations of your own body that you do. You will never become a man. You will still be a woman biologically, genetically, by your DNA. That's who you are and what you are, and no matter how many hormones you try and stuff down your mouth or you refuse to take, it's never going to change that. And we need to accept that in order for us to move on as a society to actually progress as a human species. But we seem to be degressing right now with progressive values, and we're trying to be more tolerant of it by watching films come out like this. And to me, that's a little concerning. Got a lot more coming up here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned on a Monday.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Boy, it goes by so fast. It flies right on by. Welcome into the show. One last segment here on the Voice of Reason on a Monday. So here's something fun for you. According to MSN.com, Trump campaign slashes ad spending in key states in a cash crunch. Now, you know that's just not true as we cover some of the election season things going on.
Election 2020.
Here's the headline, or here's the story. President Trump's campaign is scaling back on its television advertising spending and in some cases abandoning it altogether now in some key states, facing a cash crunch brought on by huge investments in staff and operations. Now, this is more of a strategic inside ball game kind of thing if you want to look at it that way, because you know what? He may be scaling back. Does anybody remember the 2016 presidential election? Apparently, Everybody in the mainstream media has forgotten the mistakes they made then, has forgotten what Donald Trump did then, and has forgotten how Donald Trump actually handles a campaign. He's not conventional, which is why I don't think some in the mainstream have been able to catch on yet. They try to, but they're just a little slow because they don't understand anything that's not like laid out for them to be able to spell. This is how we do things. That's not what Donald Trump does. If he's pulling back some of the advertising in different states, let me ask you something. What would be more effective for you? As a Republican, or even maybe as an independent that's listening to the program, I've gotten a few of those, and a lot of them actually that listen, a few that actually reach out to me. Libertarians, independents, maybe middle-of-the-road individuals. Let me ask you something. What's more effective to you? A 30-second campaign ad attacking the opponent, or a staff member that's knocking on your door saying, hey, you know what, I'm excited to vote for him, and let me tell you why. What's more effective? This year, I think, at least to me, the knocking on the door and the talking to people is way more effective. Again, I'm out doing that for a state representative here in the Wichita area. I'm doing that every day. I'm talking to people, and guess what? We're getting massive response. Not just about what's going on here in the district or in Wichita or in Kansas, but just in general. Hey, go Trump, go Republicans. Got to maintain that majority. Got to keep those Republicans in. Make sure you got to keep Trump in. We're hearing that all over the place. So if he's investing more in staff and operations, why do you think he's hiring on more staff? To get more of a grassroots campaign. You got to remember, Republicans have always done an excellent job in grassroots campaigning. Excellent job. That's why they run 3/4 of the state legislatures across the nation. That's why the majority of governors in the nation are Republicans, because at the state and local levels, Republicans do a phenomenal job. Now, Donald Trump is not running into financial struggles like they try to say, because if you've listened to the numbers like we've read on here, he is way out fundraising Joe Biden, and he's doing it with the small contributions. They break it up into large contributions like the corporations, the special interests, the super PACs, that money, and then the small contributions of anything less than $200. So if you're donating $5, $10, $15, $20, $100, that's what that's counting. And he has more of that than what Joe Biden has from large contributions, which, by the way, his large contributions make up 60% of his campaign funds for the Joe Biden camp, which means Donald Trump is rating way more. His large contributions, which make up on Donald Trump's side about 40% of his campaign funds, is the exact same as what Joe Biden has for his large contributions. We are way outraising Joe Biden, and all the media says is, well, Joe Biden's catching up to him on fundraising. Joe Biden's getting all this money, and Joe Biden's making all this money, and Donald Trump's cutting back. He's not cutting back. He's reprioritizing, because, yes, campaign ads are important on TV, because for the few that it's like, gee, I just watched a 15-second ad, and I know who I'm voting for now. Donald Trump is also smart in the sense that he knows how to play it. Do you remember how little advertising he spent in 2016? Does anybody remember? There were stories running on it all the time. Donald Trump not spending any money. Donald Trump not spending any money. Do you know why? It's because he is the genius in PR, being the former business guy, current business guy that he is, and knowing how to stay in front of the public and being in the media, people talking about him without spending any money. And that's what he's doing again. He's president. He has the platform of the White House to release his message. We have Kayleigh McEnany out there as the press secretary that goes on the launch attack against the media, and the media is trying to be hush-hush about that each and every day. We have Trump making statements on Twitter. We have him going around the cycles on the media, talking and doing interviews. You have Woodward writing books about him, trying to slander, and his response to there. He's in the media. People are talking about him. He doesn't need to spend advertising on TV because people are already mentioning his name and talking about him. That's smart PR, and that's smart financing. Instead, you hire on staffers to go and help out in the streets, knocking on the doors, getting people excited that way, and doing the grassroots campaigning that wins for Republicans every single time they do it, which is, again, why Donald Trump's going to blow this election away against Joe Biden. That does it for us today. Podcast going up in a little bit, but it's time for you to be your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason. Big stuff going on this whole week. Don't miss a single episode of The Voice of Reason right here. Until then, everybody have a great evening. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.